Guys. So I was just watching this crazy drama. Um, I'm almost debating if I should just make a flat out video about it, but I just feel like it would be me being such a fucking messy queen if I were to do that. Because, I don't know, that would be so fucking stupid. Hey, John. It would be the dumbest thing. But I've been watching a lot of drama about Charlie. So about my past, somebody I used to live stream with and everything. And there's so much drama going on with him. I think it's funny how a lot of times people don't change that much. But then they do. People change, but they stay the same. It's really weird. And I'm just like, I'm literally wondering if I should make a video on this situation, but I just think it's so dumb to do that. And so gay, and I don't even know why I'm interested, but I blame Newly. So my friend Neely, she posted a video about a bunch of Charlie drama, and it totally got me into it for a minute. I went down a rabbit hole. And I guess the guy that I used to do live streams with many years ago, it's been 5 years, okay? But he, I guess, hooked up with this chick. This chick is now kind of going crazy about him. I guess she really felt like it was a relationship, and he's just like, it was never a relationship. It's that kind of thing. And he's moved on. He's with a different girl. And it's this huge drama, and it's so how Charlie's content always was. It's very trashy relationship drama content, which admittedly it does stimulate my gay brain. It makes my gayness be bing, drama, relationship bullshit, And so I've been kind of bored lately, just a little bit, just a touch bored. So I watched it, I bit. And it was so interesting because my name was actually brought up. So as far as the Charlie folklore, I'm still known. And I feel like that makes me feel good a little bit. That makes me feel like I have a legacy. I put in the fucking work. I did it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm very much one of those people where I have people see my content or they see me and they're disgusted a lot of the time and they don't want anything to do with me. But to those that I seep through the cracks, I have longevity and I stick in their minds. But anyways, hey, bot, we're talking past drama. I'm talking about my Charlie drama right now. It's not really my Charlie drama, but oh my God, are you serious? You guys don't even know about Charlie. But yeah, okay, let me tell you guys about it. Let's do story time. Story time. Are you guys ready? So back in 2018, I was a huge fan of this YouTuber named The Vegan Cheetah. That was his username. He was a huge drama YouTuber. Not huge, but he had 40,000 subscribers, something like that. I know, isn't that crazy, John? He had 40,000, something in that level. And he had gotten viral in 2016, and I started following him right around the time that He did a lot of videos on Freely the Banana Girl. She's kind of like a big thing in the vegan community. I was never vegan, but I did try veganism like, a few times. And so I was interested in the topic just because Freely and Durian Rider are insane. So I don't know if you've ever known anything about Freely the Banana Girl. She is crazy. And so he did a video. They had a very, very vicious breakup, super scarring breakup. And Charlie did a video on their breakup. And that's how I found him, because I was so interested in the fact that they broke up, because they were like the king and queen of vegan YouTube. And I loved it. I loved his content. Around 2016, he also came out as political a little bit, and he came out as a Trump supporter. And that was really rare on YouTube at the time. And I really, really appreciated that about him. And over time, I just became really mega fan. Like, I'd say from 2016, I was watching all his content. I was such a fan of his. 2017, he was in a lot of personal drama. He tried to become a vlogger. So he kind of shifted, and he would talk a lot about like his girlfriend. He had a girlfriend named Alina at the time. And he would talk about his girlfriend and their drama. And like, I remember this one video, I think I still have a screenshot on my phone, but it's this one video from 2017 called like, Alina is pregnant or something. And it was like this huge, like, she lied that she was pregnant. Like, she lied to him. And he has been, if you know anything about Charlie, he has been obsessed with the idea of having a child. Not like completely obsessed, but it's like a huge thing on his mind. And it really bothers him that he has not had a kid. So when she said that she was pregnant, it was like a huge trigger for him. And he flipped out, and he was like crying and everything. Like, this was like, I don't know if you guys watched YouTube in 2016, 17, 18, but it was like major, like the drama, crying, Trisha Paytas style, sitting on the kitchen floor crying. This was all the rage back then. This kind of like crying emotional content was huge in 2016, 17, 18. And I lived for it. I loved it. I loved his content. I was like, oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. It was like such a thing. And towards the end of 2017, he started going into like the alt-right. And he took a really hard turn towards whatever the hell that is. And it irritated me, to be honest. And but I was like, whatever. And I kind of like, I didn't really take it that seriously, because the thing is like, he was very like jokester, and you never really knew what was serious or what wasn't with him, because he was very like offensive. He was an offensive content creator. Like, he would say things all the time. That was also all the rage back then. And a lot of it was owning the libs and, this type of stuff, which I loved all that. I did. And I like offensive humor. I like offensive jokes and things like that. And I didn't really know what was his angle with that. But he got very into the alt-right stuff, and he was very into like, making sure white people have babies. I don't know how else to say that without YouTube getting super triggered. But that was a big thing. Again, he cares a lot about the fact that he hasn't had a kid. So that was like a whole thing in and of itself. And around this time, I think around December of 2017, I kind of slowed down with watching him, because he was kind of just annoying at that time to me a little bit. But we followed each other on Twitter, and I was tweeting a lot of political things at the time, and he liked a lot of my tweets. I can't remember if I was watching him or not. I'm pretty sure I was still watching him, but he was irritating me at the time with the alt-right stuff. And then going into 2018, I was tweeting a lot and he was liking my tweets. In February of 2018, he did a live stream. He would do live streams every single day and he would do call-ins. And I don't know what the hell possessed me, but in February of 2018, I called in and I got on his show and I talked about a lot of different things. I talked about my BED. So at that time, I was like raging, binging. I talked about how I was eating 7,500 calories a day. And I was just like, yeah, people say that they don't know why they're fat, but I never say that because I eat this much every day. And he was just like, oh my gosh, and like we had a really good conversation on the show, and I was very popular when I was talking on the show. It was really fun. And later on, I think in March or so, or I think soon after that, I think it was towards March or something, we had been liking each other's tweets on Twitter and stuff. And I ended up asking him if we could hang out because he lived in Santa Monica and I was in Southern California at the time. And so I was like, let's, like, maybe we should hang out, blah, blah, blah. So he comes out in March and admits that he had relapsed on drugs. So he relapsed actually in December of 2017. And that was really horrifying. Just like as a community and everybody, we were all like really shocked, but it made sense because he hadn't been posting and it was like a weird thing. But he came out with it in March. And so I kind of put that on the back burner and I let him he had to deal with like withdrawal, and it was like a huge thing. It was really dramatic. And then I can't remember what happened, but towards April, I think it was like April 25th or something. It was like around that time, I ended up coming to his place. And I think it's funny because I've been watching this woman, she's like bashing Charlie. And it's very different when you've been around Charlie in person. So one thing about Charlie that I think people need to understand is he is nothing like how he is online when he's in person. He is very different in person. Online, he's the type of person where he acts very alpha, or he acts like he's so tough and he shit talks. And you know me, I'm a messy bitch. So I love that. I love shit talk and I love that kind of stuff. But he plays all that when he's on camera and he's like Mr. Tough Guy kind of thing. In person, he is so acquiescent. He is so accommodating. He's so sweet. He's one of those. So when he's in front of you, he's a completely different person than he is behind your back or on camera. Totally different. It means somebody who really, I don't know how else to describe it, but I'd say somebody who's submissive, somebody who is very accommodating and polite, and will kind of like, I'm talking about the person I used to work with, Celtic, because he's in a lot of drama right now. So I want to talk about it. So I would say acquiescent means like accommodating, agreeable, nice, submissive. It's like that type of thing. So basically, that's how he was in person. And I didn't mind because to me, I don't take things that seriously, especially at the time. Like I'm cool. I'm a cool bitch. Okay, I'm cool. So I don't care that much. Like I understand you do something for the show, you do something, it's for the money, it's for this, it's for that, whatever, right? That's basically what it was. I didn't take things that personally. This was my first time ever meeting a YouTuber. I was so excited. I mean, I had met like Shane Dawson and stuff, but it's not like I went to his place and like did all that. Like I went to Charlie's place and I got on a live stream with him. It was just like so amazing. And I loved it so much. It was so much fun. Like, I don't even know. I was so miserable in my life back then. It was the worst year of my life. And that was just like one of the most fun things I had ever done. It was just incredible. Like, I remember I was working at the airport, and one of my friends at the airport, I showed her because she knew that I loved Charlie. And I feel like that could be taken out of context. I loved him in terms of his content. But it was just funny because she knew I loved him, and I played the video for her, and he was sitting there talking, and he's like, "Yeah, and we're gonna introduce, Graphically Alex, blah blah blah, to the channel or whatever." And I come on the screen, and she was like, "What?" She's like, "You were there?" And I was like, "I was there." Blah blah blah. Like, I was so excited. It was so much fun. It was hard for me too, because his chat is brutal. Like, you want to talk, like, his chat was like Elijah's chat. It was brutal. Like, I got on there and they're like, "Is this a boy or a girl? What is this? Who is this?" Blah blah blah. Like, somebody called in. There was a gay guy that called in, and he was like, "Are you a clout chaser? Are you just here for the clout?" And I was like, "What's clout? What?" I literally didn't know what that meant back then. And I was like, "Oh, what?" Because I honestly just really liked Charlie a lot. And I don't know, like, looking back, I don't know if there was, like, yeah, yes, but I don't know if there was some motivation for clout. I mean, I think there had to have been at least some layer to that, where I felt like if I got on his show, maybe I'll get a bunch of subscribers or something. I didn't. I didn't, but I didn't care. It didn't bother me. It wasn't really about the clout. It was more about him. I really liked him. I really identified with him in a lot of ways. I don't really know why when I think back, but I think I just identified with, like, being hated. He had been canceled a lot. Um, you know, I we connected on some things with politics, not everything, like I said, but definitely a lot of stuff politically we connected, and there was just a lot of stuff. I really liked him. Um, and so we streamed for quite a while. We didn't stream that often. I think we streamed about once a month from May until December of that year. But he had a Discord, and I was very, very involved on his Discord. I was obsessed with it. And I was on there every single day, and he was on there. And there were a lot of weird moments where it's like, I don't know exactly. Like, the thing about Charlie too is you don't always know how he actually feels about you. It was very like Regina George, Mean Girls, where it's like you want him to like you, but you don't really know if he does. Like, he always would keep people kind of on their toes, and he would turn on people. And he had a lot of people that liked him and then hated him, which is, not unlike somebody else I know. So basically, like, there was a lot of that going on at that time, and it would seem very random. And it would be like, this person came out against me, blah, 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 blah. This is why, da, da, da. And it'd be like this huge drama thing. And he would use a lot of it for clout and for attention and money. And he would do this, and he had like some donors. There was some dark money going on, I believe, anyways, allegedly. But we don't really know who, like, but he got like a huge donation when he did You Now in 2017. It was like for, I think, like, I can't remember the exact amount, but it was probably like $6,000 or between $6,000 to $10,000. So, like, there was a lot of donations coming in, and there were people that would tell him, "I want you to talk about this." And that continued a lot in 2019, but I didn't talk to him in 2019 at all, which we'll get to that. So anyways, there's a lot of clout. There's like this whole troll thing. He has enemies from like 2016, and they all come into his Discord. They take over everything. I'm like, I see him and I'm listening to him on Discord. I'm literally at the airport listening to him on Discord getting bashed and hated. And people are calling him like, you're a piece of shit and you're a pussy and you're this and that. Like, just all the time. You ain't worth nothing as a man. Da, da, da. Like, literally, like, so demeaned all the time. Like, and he was so bashed. And there were so many, like, crazy people in the Discord. There's a lot of like really racist people in the Discord. There was a lot of actual, I had to deal with somebody who was extremely homophobic in the Discord, but it was very much like free speech rules and you just fight it out yourself and you figure it out. And, there was a bit of it that kind of helped me because it's a different thing when you can't just silence somebody, when you just have to deal with it. And so I did. And it kind of made me stronger. And I got a lot of hate too, because I was like a major supporter of his. And I'm sure you guys know, like, whenever you support somebody that's hated, they hate you too. So I got a lot of hate. There was kind of like an inner sanctum. Hey, Shannon. There's kind of like an inner sanctum where a lot of people were talking, we were more close to him. But I was actually really liked, not necessarily universally by everybody, but I was very liked because I was essentially like the Charlie fanboy that got to meet him and do his streams with him. And I was very relatable. A lot of people in his audience could relate to me because I was just a fat bitch on the side of the road. And I'm just kidding. But I was just a basic fat bitch that just walked in and here I am. Whoa, look at me. I'm just a random fan. And now I'm involved in this streamer world. And it was a trip. It was such a weird experience, but it was very exhilarating, but it was also horrible. There was a lot of highs and a lot of lows throughout that time and when I was doing that. But me and Charlie, we were pretty close in terms of like, especially for him, because he keeps people very distant. But like I said, I really liked Charlie a lot. And it's like, I wanted to help him in some ways. Charlie has like it's kind of like a childlike quality. Like he has like this innocence to him, even though he's not innocent at all. He's like super druggy, super hoe, like really, really sordid past, like very, very intense past. But there's still this like quality to him. And I don't know, it was just, he was very endearing. And the Willy Wonka factor, that's interesting. Yeah, he was very endearing. And there was things were like relatively fine. I know that summer it was crazy. Like August was crazy. I had so much going on in my life at the time. It was such a chaotic time in my life. It was horrible. Like I said, I was dealing with really, really horrible things. I don't even really want to get into, but it was the worst year of my life. And he was just one of those things. And like I said, it was stressful. There's always another problem. There's always another issue. There's always another this. He's always in trouble again. He's doing this. In August, he's like, I have to leave. They're coming after me, blah, blah, blah. He got really paranoid and he ended up losing his place. And it was this really intense moment, especially when I was so obsessed with his stream and like so obsessed with his content. It affected my life and he was my friend. It was a very weird place to be watching somebody that is your friend and really and overly invested, like way, way overly invested. I will admit that. I was so invested in his life. It was kind of insane. He had a brutal breakup with Alina. It was really scarring. She dumped him and he was tripping really hard because she dumped him and started having sex with a black guy instead. And that like really triggered him. It was like one of those. It was like hot mess, Mari, status content, total trashy relationship content. And he's like, she's out there, she's getting lobsters with this guy and blah, blah, blah. Or like, I don't know. I can't remember if he was black or he was either black or like Arab or something. There was something. where he was really triggered at the fact. And I remember him doing streams crying about it, and it was just so much. Yeah, pretty much. It was so much. It was so much. Like, it was really crazy. And, I loved the content. I did. I really did. It was so fascinating. It's so fascinating to me. And, a lot of other people. And so he had so many hate watchers, so many love watchers. And it's like we got to know people. Like, I still know people from the community, like, to this day. Like, the diehards, like, you still remember each other. Like, we will never forget each other. It was a very weird time of my life. And, like, I feel like everybody that was involved in that, we all have, like, a weird bond forever because we were all involved in it. Because it was a lot. I feel like I've painted a pretty good picture of how it was. It was like I said, always another issue, always another problem, always something else. Breakup. Now he doesn't have his place anymore, and now he's gonna go move in with Will. He's gonna go move in with his friend in Vegas, and it was like, okay, that's good. Like, hopefully it'll work. Blah blah blah. Right. So around this time that he loses the place, and he's like, they're coming after me. The trolls they're trying to kill me. He was like really having a moment in August. He goes and moves to Vegas, I think around September. I remember I met up with him in September. We talked about a lot of stuff. We talk like politics, we talk ideas. Like, again, Charlie, I'm going to be honest. Oh, no problem, Shannon. Good night. I'm going to be honest. He looks like he's really dumb, like on camera. He's not dumb. Like, when you actually talk to him, he's actually very intelligent. And so we connected on that. And we connected intellectually on a lot of things. We connected, personally as well. Like I said, I very much cared about him. And we met up in September because so I remember in September, he was coming out to LA because he had to get his Suboxone, I think. And he asked me to meet up, and I was like, oh my gosh, he actually asked me, because he wasn't really the type to like pursue, and we didn't even live stream or anything that time. It was literally just hanging out as friends. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, we really are friends, because that's like, again, it's such a weird thing because I was in such a just different mindset at the time, but I wanted him to like me so bad. I was so like unsure of myself, and I was so unsure of if he liked me, but I liked him so much, and I wanted him to like me so, like, I just cared so much that he liked me. And anyways, so when that happened, I was like, wow, we really are friends, blah blah blah, right? And around, I think, October, he was kind of stable again, but then he had a major split from Will, which was the guy he was living with. And basically around that time, there was a lot of speculation on his sobriety. So anybody who has been friends with an addict, anybody who has worked with an addict, anybody who has been involved with an addict in any way, I know, there's always speculation about if they're using again, especially if it's online. So being online or having an audience, there's always going to be people speculating their sobriety. Now, I was such a diehard fan. I was so in his corner. Like, I would get on live stream and I would bash people that said that he was on drugs again. I would do all this stuff. Like, I was really, really gunning for him at the time. And it's like, how could you say this? Blah, blah, blah. I don't think he is, da, 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 right? Totally going hardcore. I bashed people. His enemies were my enemies. It was very intense. Like I said, it was a very intense dynamic. It was crazy to look back on, to be honest. It was kind of insane. But I think for me, I used a lot of his drama as a distraction from my life because my life was so horrible that year that I would use his drama to get away from myself. And I was so, I remember I started getting to a point. So, anyways, he breaks it off with Will. Like they split. Will's doing live streams. He's like, he's doing drugs and he's this and he's that. And, it's like all this stuff. And I was like, oh my God, like, I don't know what to think. And we would talk about it. Like, a lot of us would talk about it. A lot of us more in the inner sanctum would talk and be like, is he? I don't know. I don't know. Is he? I don't know. And I had really close friends that, where I didn't, we would speculate. And it's like, we don't know if he's on drugs or not. So he becomes homeless. He comes back to LA because it's easier for him to get a Suboxone in California. He comes back to LA and he's homeless on the beach. This is around November. And I was so shook. I went there. I cared so much. We were a lot of us in the inner sanctum were so worried about him. And I went to the beach with him and he like showed me where he slept. He showed me his routine at Starbucks. He, put out his towel for me to sit on at the beach. And he was just like, look at the beach. It's so beautiful, blah, blah, blah. Like, and I remember I have a vlog of this actually, which is insane that I have a vlog of me seeing him at the beach. Out of here, I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. It's horrible. And he was just like, but look at the beach. It's beautiful, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I guess, and it was like, again, very endearing. And he's just like, yeah, he's like, I can't get into any of the rehab places because I'm sober. He's like, I'm testing sober. And I don't know if that was true or not, but it was just like, it was such a surreal thing. And I had no idea what to do. And it was a lot. It wasn't fair to me that he put me in that situation. Oh my gosh. Is it my internet or is it your guys's? Because I'm seeing that too. I mean, I guess if it did, I can redo it. Let me know if it's frozen. Let me check. Is it you or is it me? Is it both of us? Let me know. Okay, is it okay now? What did you guys hear last? Let me know. Okay. Hold on. I need to see if it's okay on my end. You guys freak me out. My internet is weird, so it looks okay on my end. Okay, I can hear myself. Okay, whatever. Just let me know, you guys, if it freezes again. So anyways, so I was really, he was homeless. And I was so horrified for him. I was just like, oh my God. And I remember at the time I was so judgmental and like he pissed me off. Like there was a lot of anger I felt towards him and it had been building over the year because it's like this problem, then this problem, then this problem. And I feel like we'd all help him. We'd all try to figure it out. We'd all try to work through it. And then there'd be another issue. And then we'd all try to help him and it all, and then there's another issue, and it was just happening all the time. And I was just like, there was an inner anger in me that was building. And when he chose to be homeless, because he chose to be homeless, I know the circumstances were not perfect, but it's something he chose to do because he could have gone back home and stayed with his dad. He could have stayed there in Vegas with will, or he could have done something different. There were so many different options for him to do something, and he chose to be homeless on the beach, I think mostly because of the Suboxone when I look back on it. So I met up with him in November, like I said. We filmed a vlog. It was really cute and gay. Not literally gay, but it was cute. And like I said, I really felt for him. And it was just weird because when you know somebody that's kind of famous, there's so much speculation about this person, right? So there's he's evil, he's this, he's that, or he's amazing, I love him, oh my God, right? You have like a lot of these conversations going on. And I remember like we filmed together. I did a political chat with him. We talked about certain things. I think we actually talked about gay issues and stuff. And there was this weird speculation that me and him were dating. Everybody in the comments were saying that we were having sex with each other. It was really weird. And I had never been through hate like that, or I'd never been through comments like that. And it was really uncomfortable for me. And it was just a lot. It was so much pressure at the time. And I mean, to be honest, cause like he had made comments like where I didn't know. I didn't know what was going on. We never did anything. Nothing ever happened. I didn't think anything would ever happen. And nothing did. But I don't know. Cause like I said, there were some weird moments. Like one time we were all in Discord and one of our mutual friends, she was like, you should do a sleep stream with Alex. Because he would do these sleep streams where it's like you have the stream running while you're sleeping. He would do that because I guess it would help the algorithm, and it was like a vibe. It was a thing that live streamers did. And she's like, you should do a sleep stream with Alex, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, oh my God. He's like, Alex, would you be interested in doing that? Because we were all talking about ideas. And he was like, he was like, well, would you want to do that, Alex? And I was like, I don't know, because I was really gay at the time. And I was like, like, I like sleeping in my bed. Like, that was how I felt at the time. I was like, I like sleeping in my bed. I don't know. And then he's like, but what if, and then he says this on the call. He's like, but what if I get hard? And what if I want to fuck? And I was like, listening to this. And he's like, no, he's like, I don't fuck my friends. And I was like, dude. I was like, you're supposed to be straight. And I remember talking with our mutual friend behind the scenes after that night, and we were like, oh my gosh, like, why did he say that? And she's like, I don't know. She was Aussie. She's like, I don't know why he said that. That was weird. And I was like, it was weird. Like, it was really fucking weird. I don't know how to take that. I remember when I first met him, he was like, you look like your pictures. I was like, yeah. So I don't know. There was a couple weird moments where I didn't know. Yeah, sleep streams. I would have freaked out if he did that when I was there. Yeah. Yeah, but seriously, like, so that was a thing. And so I don't know. I don't know. He never made a move. We never did anything. Nothing ever happened. But there was speculation at the time. And it was a little scarring. And I was just like, okay, like, whatever, right? And at the time, I just remember, like, he was still on the street and stuff. And I just told him, I was like, well, maybe, because my grandma was going to she was going to Alabama. She was visiting Alabama. And I said, maybe you should come visit me and just like do your laundry, get some food in you. Because I had a little bit of money at the time. And I was like, maybe I could help you out at least for a while. I was like, it's better than nothing. And he was just like, no, he's like, I don't want to do that. He's like, I don't want to get used to being there and then I have to be homeless again afterwards. He's like, it's just better not to. And I was like, well, maybe you could just come over and like do your laundry or something. Like I was just trying to like help him in any way I could. I just didn't know. I didn't know what to do. And I kind of insisted because I felt like he was being stupid and I felt like it was just like he needed the help. And he was like, okay. He's like, maybe, or, like I will or whatever. So this is where things go south. So he was supposed to come over on December 3rd and he didn't, which was fine. I was just like, okay, because he kind of ghosted. Like I was going to come pick him up. I texted him. I was like, am I still coming? Da da da. No response. And I was like, okay, whatever. Because my life, like I said, was kind of falling apart. At the time, there was a lot of other problems I had. So I was like, whatever. And I was starting to get paranoid that he was using because when I saw him, he acted really, really weird that day. And there were certain moments where he was kind of erratic. But to be honest, he was smoking a ton of weed. So I don't know. But at the time, it just freaked me out. And I said, what? And I was thinking, like, what do I do if he brings drugs into my place? What do I do if he tries to have sex with me? I don't know what to do. I was like, I don't think, I can lock my door. Like, I'm not really worried, but it's like, I don't know how to handle it. What if cops get involved? Like, I just started having all these questions in my head. And it's like, there was so much pressure at the time and so much speculation. I didn't know what was real or not. And I basically was relieved when he didn't come. And he even told me, he's like, I don't want it to be there like when your grandma doesn't know, and I don't want to do this and da da da. He's like, it was kind of like I don't want to do that to you kind of vibe, which to be honest, looking back at it, it was the right decision probably because I was kind of stupid at the time. So I didn't really know what I was doing. And that would have been fine. But instead, that day, he goes to another person's house, somebody who he had huge beef with, somebody that we were mutual enemies with. He goes to her house and he showers at her house, does all this stuff. And apparently he talks shit about me to her. So he tells her that I was trying to have sex with him. And then she goes on live and she puts me on blast because, like I said, we were enemies. So then she goes on live and she talks shit about me and how I was trying to fuck him and blah, blah, blah. Horrible. I was so humiliated. And by that point, not only was I crushed, but I was angry. Like I said, my anger had been building. And I was so horrified that he had done that, like he had said that. And I just knew it. I knew it. I knew he had said it. And so I pulled back and I left the Discord and I just stopped showing up. And then people started coming out of the woodwork and they're like, are you okay? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, I'm fine. Da, 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 da. Right. I need to just focus on my own thing. I was kind of doing that kind of thing, but I was gutted. I mean like crying in my bed, gutted, like really betrayed. I felt like so betrayed by him that he would do that. And so I just had nothing to do with him basically after that point. And I was really sad about it. Very, very, very gutted. And mostly it was fine, I guess. I mean, it was horrible. But I talked a lot of shit about him with my friends and stuff from the community. And they kind of showed me things because he was kind of getting worse and worse. Like he was homeless on the street. So obviously he's getting worse with time. He would do live streams from like this garage. It was really scarring. There was always tea and always drama when it came to him, right? And so fast forward to like February of 2019. And my friend Newly, she was defending me in the comments and she got in this huge fight with him. And he was just like, Alex is this and that and whatever. And like, he basically, I don't remember what else he said, but he basically just bashed me. He's like, why would you do this? why would you do that? Blah, 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 right? Like, he's just like, he's like, why are so many of you guys so obsessed with Alex? Or like, he's like, why do you care? Why this? Why that? Like, and he was really pissed. And he's like, he's just this and whatever. I think he just talked massive shit. I don't remember that one that much because I didn't have it saved or anything, but I did see it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, And he was so angry about it because people kept asking about me. They're like, where is Alex? Where's Alex? Where's Alex? It's kind of haunting him. And that was all fine. I didn't really care by that point. Like, I was kind of, I mean, I hated his guts. Let's be real. I was complete hater at that point. And I think he was really pissed because there was another hate channel that would post clips of him. And then there was like hateful stuff, like they would respond to the things he was doing and saying, and I would comment on there. And I was commenting on it in like February. And I think he saw it. And I think that's why he talked shit about me publicly, because he saw that I was commenting on this page. And, and he'd say really homophobic things and he'd go all out. Like, he went pretty all out. And it wasn't until March where things really boiled up. So right around March, he does this stream. And somebody, I guess, asked him if whatever happened to the podcast I was going to do with him. No, we weren't necessarily going to do a podcast, but we were just going to be doing, some topical videos every once in a while, like probably like once a week or something, but it wasn't like a podcast. I never said that, but this person, I guess, misunderstood. And he's just like, I was never going to do a podcast. He's like, what the hell? And, he got all extra and he's just like, Alex is this and whatever. And he basically said that I tried to rape him. And he's like, I would never do that. He's like, what the hell? He's trying to force himself on me, something to that effect. Like, and he's like 400 pounds, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't want to get squashed, like really nasty. And at that point, I was just so like, I was so angry. I was so angry at him. And again, my life was miserable. I was living in an abusive home at this time. I was in a very different reality. My life had gotten so much worse. And when he did this, I was like, I'm going to use him as a distraction and I'm going to cancel him for clout. And so I did. And around March, right after he did that stream, I clipped it. I made a video. And I did the video with the intention of canceling him. I wanted to inflict as much damage on his reputation as I could. At that point, it was more of a cold anger. I was so angry at him that he would do that. And I was so disgusted that he would accuse me of that and that he would say that. And I responded and I basically said, I would never have sex with you. I was like, you're a homeless drug addict. And I would never do that, essentially is what I said. And I said, I was a huge fan of yours. I was so disappointed, and I just kind of came out with everything. And I just laid it all out. And from that point, I made that response. It went not viral, but it was definitely a bigger video, I guess, than what I was doing at the time. And I went on and on and on. Well, no, I didn't go on and on and on. I just made that one video at first. And like I said, I got a response. I got all this stuff. And then at that point, I was so angry at him that I basically said, keep my name out of your mouth. I really went hardcore. And I told him, don't ever say that about me, whatever. It was really gay. It was a really gay video. Like, when I watched it recently, and it's really like, I was definitely playing it up a little bit, and I look really gay and just like really stupid in that video when I look back at it. But I really kind of played up the drama factor a little bit because like I said, I was trying to cancel him. And so then my mom was getting married in Vegas at the end or in mid-March. And I decided to go to Will's house and film a video with him. I just hatched a plan and I said maybe I should go to Will's house, make a video with him, and we should both talk shit about Charlie and just go through everything and I'll interview him about what it was like to live with him. And my toxic friends from the community were like, "Oh my gosh, that's an amazing idea. You should totally do that. Oh my God, oh my God," and it was like so juicy. So I messaged Will and I told him, "Hey, I'm coming to Vegas. I think we should do a video together." And da da da. Charlie talked shit about you. He talked shit about me. Let's talk shit about him. And Will was down. And so I went to Will's house. I filmed the video. We did it. It was a banger. It was good. I talked so much shit about him. It was vicious. And I even wore his merch while I did it. It was so bad. It was so snake. It was such a snake moment of mine. It was so bad. I'm sure it like absolutely horrified Charlie. But I fucking hated him. Like I really hated his guts. And of course, I got so much clout after I posted that. I got like 200 subscribers or something. This got me to like 300. And I would do live streams, responding to comments, like, and I talk about him all the time. Because at the same time, his streams were getting more and more unhinged. He was going crazier and crazier and crazier being on the street. He was getting incredibly racist, incredibly everythingist. I mean, it was bad. And he was just getting crazier and crazier and crazier. And so, it was just, I really hated him. I really hated him. Like, I could not get over it. I hated him so much. And I think because I had held back, I just unleashed everything. And so for about like 4 months, I talked shit about Charlie on stream almost every time I streamed, almost every day. But it's like one of those things where you get on there, you talk shit about him just because you hate his guts. People comment about him. Then even when you're not talking shit about him, then people are still commenting about him, and then you end up talking about him again. So I kind of became known for hating him. And it wasn't really great. But like I said, I was in such a horrible situation that it was still something I used as a distraction. And by I think November, I forgave him. But I knew that there was so much, like, and I talked so much shit about him. Some of the stuff I don't even really believe anymore. Like, I think I said he was ugly or something at one of my streams. I don't think he's ugly. I think I kind of played things up just because I really fucking hated his guts. I was so upset with him. So I would kind of fudge things a little bit with him when I talk shit about him, where I'd like really exaggerate it or just get really visceral hatred. And like I said, I started having doubts. I started feeling like, I was just a fucking crazy bitch on here, like blah, blah, blah. Like it felt weird. And, that was kind of the end. Like I kind of forgave him in November. I didn't message him. I think I might have messaged him and just said, like, I don't know if you're like a total monster or whatever, but like, whatever, I forgive you kind of thing. I just kind of said something like that. It wasn't anything deep. He didn't respond or anything. I didn't expect anything. And it was kind of over after that. And then it's just like the occasional, you hear something about him, like he got into stock trading or whatever in 2020. He sucks at it. He's terrible at it. He loses money all the time. It's really scarring. And it's really boring. Like he became very boring when he started talking about stocks. So people just stopped watching him and I stopped watching him. I mean, I didn't really watch him that much anyways, but he was just so boring I couldn't even watch him. So that was kind of it. And now I guess he's back to doing drama and he's back to the same shit basically. And I guess what I wanted to do this stream about is to just kind of talk about how my views have changed when I look back on that situation. and this is not gonna be the most popular opinion, but I'm gonna say it. So, if there's any shot that Charlie sees this, I was not well at the time that we were friends. I was very, very hypolicious, as I would say. I was really unwell mentally and physically. And it wasn't all you, Charlie. It was also me. I remember this famous stream or this famous thing where he called me a psy vamp. He's like, Alex is a psychic vampire. He's a psy vamp. And I was so offended and da da da. But I kind of understand what he meant. But I think it was just because like I was so like obsessed and like really obsessed with the drama and just like really kind of toxic at the time. I was very toxic at that time in my life. And so I can kind of understand when he said that. And I think when I look back on it now, I do think Charlie really liked me as a friend. I think there were certain things that he was intimidated about when it came to me. Um, and also too, like it's one thing where it's like you have a fan who's like I was young, I'm younger than him. I think I'm like 5 years younger than him almost, or like 4 or 5 years younger than him. So it's like you have a fan that's younger than you lose everything. He lost everything. He lost his place, he lost his money, he lost his clout, he lost his girlfriend, he lost everything. He basically became a loser like right after I met him. And I think that was hard for him because it was like probably really embarrassing, to be honest. And I didn't judge him for it at the time. I did a little bit, I think, where I was just like, oh my gosh, what the fuck? Like I probably felt that way a little bit, to be fair. So maybe he was picking up on that. But it was also like I said, I wasn't really well. And so when I look back at it, it's like I think we definitely had an issue with communication, clearly. And one of my biggest regrets about the situation is I really wish I would have messaged him after the other person made that stream about, what he said about me. And he had made another stream. He's like, I've talked with gay guys and before, and they always try to have sex with me and whatever, right? Like he had like one of those moments on the same day. So I knew that he had said that. It wasn't like I just made that up. But if I were me now, I probably would have reached out to him and I would have said, why are you saying this about me? And I would have confronted him. I don't know if I would have gotten a response realistically, but I think I would have at least felt better had I tried to reach out privately. And he may have responded to me just because, like I said, we were pretty close. And when I look back at it now, looking at his situation, I think he was extremely paranoid because he was homeless. I don't know if he was on drugs again. For a long time, I believed he was, but I just saw a video of his where he was like, I've been sober for 5 years and da da da. And I was just like, he probably was sober. And so I feel bad because I talked shit about him and said he wasn't sober. And I've done that a lot. And it's just like, God, I was such a bitch. So I think he was just very paranoid because of the situation he was in. Like he didn't want help. He was just scared. And it's like, I wish I could have put some things aside. Like I wish I could have, looking back, I wish I could have not cared so much about what he thought of me. Because it's like I cared so much about what he thought of me that I couldn't look at what he was going through or like really look at the situation he was in or he felt he had to be in. Like he was just in such a weird spot himself. And I think it's hard when you're losing everything. I think it's really hard to be stable. I think it's really hard to not make stupid decisions. He was on the height of his career the year before and it all went to shit. I think I wish I could have kept that in mind and just been cooler about things. And I wish that I would have reached out to him, told him that that wasn't the case, and that it wasn't cool at all for him to say that about me, that I was very offended by that, and that it was really wrong. And he probably would have apologized if I would have said that to him. And maybe things would have been different, you know. I wish I hadn't talked shit about him so much. I didn't have much faith in myself. I didn't think that anybody cared about me other than the fact that I was associated with him, which to a certain extent that was kind of true, but it's like I could have made my own content. I could have done my own thing. I didn't need to do that. So looking back at that, I think that that was really wrong. And I think it just, the thing that I feel the most bad about to this day is that I feel like there was a part of me that dehumanized him because I used him as an emotional punching bag. I used him as a distraction for what I was going through. And it was really wrong. And I really felt badly about it. I don't feel as bad now because it's like I've made peace with it, but it was wrong. And I had done that to him before, but I couldn't help but do it just because, like, I wasn't well. And I think it was hard to separate the internet viewer version of him versus him as my friend. So I feel bad about it. Honestly, I don't think it was a good thing. And he's not great with emotions. He's not great with expressing things. So it's like, I'm sure he felt that from me, but he couldn't say that. He had to say all this other bullshit because he's like stupid in some ways. So I don't know. I think, you know, he's one of those people where he really sabotages himself. He's scared of succeeding. Whenever he finds success, he destroys it. His newest hater, she's crazy. I do think she's a little bit crazy, to be honest. Not like, I don't mean to be a bitch or anything. Like, I'm not gonna totally step in it. Like, I will just say this to the girl that's freaking out over him. I get it. It's wild to know Charlie. Charlie is bananas. Charlie, knowing Charlie in person is a wild experience, flat out. So if she's gone a little cuckoo bananas over it, I'm not going to judge her. I did too. I went crazy too afterwards. It's a crazy situation. So that's all I'll say. That being said, even though I went crazy after, I don't think it was the right thing to do. And I will still say with this woman, I don't think it's the right thing for you to do either. It's not going to satisfy. It's not going to make you feel better. It's just bad all around. And yeah. So I guess like I wasn't that great of a friend to him. He wasn't that great of a friend to me. We were two people where we really connected. We really had a camaraderie, a kinship. Like I said, we connected intellectually a lot. And it's like, it just didn't work out because he, you know, and I will say this, if Charlie ever watches, which he might, he honestly might, because maybe he's curious. What didn't help is when we had a private conversation on Discord and you told me that you could never be close to anybody. You said that you were too crazy or whatever, and that you could never be close to anybody. And you were like, Alex, you're like, we're never going to be close. We're not going to be close friends. We're not going to be this. We're not going to be that. Da, 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 da. And that really didn't help. So that's where you went wrong. Because when you said that to me, then I was like, oh my God, he doesn't like me or whatever, you know? And so then it was like, and then you talk shit about me because I think he was trying to create distance. And it's just a toxic person. You know, Charlie was a very toxic person at the time. I don't know how he is now. I can't speak on him now. But that's what it was, you know, it's like he was toxic, I was toxic. He would do something, I'd react. I would do something, he would react, and it just blew up. And I feel bad about it just because, like I said, of the parts that I did where I did dehumanize him a bit. I'm sure there's parts where he feels bad from what I've heard, which isn't much. I hear that he, if anything, he would ask about me. He doesn't talk shit about me. I think it's a sore spot. It's definitely a sore spot for me too. But it's like, I just wish I could have, I wish I could have handled things better, but I couldn't have. I was dumb. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I didn't know how to navigate with hate comments and, you know, I won't say fame. That's a bit much, but you know, being in the public eye, I had no idea what I was doing. It was brutal. I was being roasted all the time. I was the Sydney Watson of that dynamic. I'm just kidding. I had to say that for Sam just because I know Sam would be horrified that I said that. But you know, I acted like I was a cool girl and I wasn't a cool girl, and I'm sorry. But I will say, Charlie, I was not in love with you. I just really cared for you deeply. And yeah, and it sucks that that happened. And it was horrifically traumatic and it was horrible. And I'm sorry for my side of it. I'm sure you're sorry for your side, but that's what happened. And people are saying my name. So all I heard from this lady is she said that Charlie used me. I don't agree. Charlie didn't use me. Charlie just didn't know what he was doing either. Charlie doesn't have many friends. Charlie can't keep people in his life. Charlie has issues. And quite frankly, at the time, I had issues myself. I was not equipped to deal with somebody that had those issues. And it is what it is. I just, call me crazy, but I think we should forgive people and just let people start their lives again. You know, it's like, I get it's easy for me to say that with so much distance, but it's like, it's a bunch of bullshit. You know, we just went through something really horrible over the past few years. It's like, it is what it is, you know? Just have a little perspective, I guess. But that's kind of my thoughts on it. I will just say he did not use me. We were just close friends, both skittish about each other for different reasons. There was a lot of weird political hoo-ha behind us. I was scared of him because I didn't know, you know, he was the evil straight white man. I don't know how straight he is. And I will say that, Charlie. I will say that just to be shady, but straight enough. He's had many girlfriends. He was the evil straight white man, and I was the, you know, evil gay, I guess, you know. And so there was some political noise behind our friendship, but it didn't matter. We still were friends. And you know, it was a lot. It was my reputation era. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually my speak now era, technically. Taylor Swift wise. But I do. Charlie loved Reputation. He loves Taylor at that time. And we bonded over Tay. Charlie knew the way to my heart. I remember he played the album and he was like, this album is everything. He's like, this album is my whole life. He's like, this is my life. And I was like, it's so good. Oh my God, I love it. You know, because I was so gay. It was fun. And I love Charlie's music. Even though it was cringe, I still loved it. But anyways, I hope everything works out. I don't know if Charlie's doing well or not. I just want to say it seems like Charlie's having what he did to so many people, including me, which is lie about people, slander them, do all this stuff. I think it's being done to him. And I'm sure it doesn't feel good. But that's, you know, It's pretty karmic, I guess. That's what happens. So I don't know. I guess he has to deal with it. He has to figure it out. But that's my story. Pretty much. That's what I feel bad about. And I think looking back at it, I just wish I could have had more empathy for him. It wasn't just him. I had issues with empathy with a lot of people because I was so unwell. Um, I'm unwell when I couldn't tell my best friend, my best gay friend had gained weight. And I feel like I would have noticed that. So I was kind of out of it. I was really suffering. And I think if Charlie were to see this, I'd want you to know that I was really suffering at the time. It was not all you. Just says it was not all me on your end. You were suffering too. It was a great year. We love 2018. Landmark year of life. Anyways, you guys, I think I'm going to go. Thank you for listening to my story. I love that I entertained Bot. Thank you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye, y'all.